So for once, the Fed actually got something right. Shocker, and more bombshells ahead of what's going on in the markets. We got a slew of bombshells. Not only is the Fed actually making sense, which three words I never thought I'd be saying, but Waller came out yesterday and basically said on the 10-year yields, market participants getting concerned about United States deficits and demand a term premium. Kind of what we've been saying on this channel. And if you guys haven't been following for long, we go over any verboten topics. There is no topic that is too verboten, especially when it comes to finance. There's only those that will discuss it and not. And we're going to be talking also about the Delta incident today. Delta plane flipped upside down while landing on Toronto's main airport. And there's already a slew of blame games going around. The US is to blame, Canada's to blame, everyone at each other's throats, like the US-Canada hockey game. If you guys saw that, that was a very, very interesting one, to say the least. But we're going to be going over exactly what's going on in the markets, where we kind of see everything going, how you guys can make a stupid amount of money on the markets for doing little to nothing. And it's going to be a great time. If you guys want to know more about how to make in-depth money, how to be up 16% on the year, which my portfolio is currently up, versus the S&P that's only up a couple percentage points this year, join the Discord, join the watch list, hit an admin up to join that watch list, be one of the first 17 people, and you'll get it for absolutely free for a lifetime before it goes behind the paywall. So make sure you guys join in on that. But enough rambling about that. Another bombshell is that the Doge clock, the beautiful, lovely Doge clock, finally hit 106,000. So again, fantastic team out there working for the Doge team, right? Kind of talking about the treasury recently, that 4.7 trillion, have no clue where that went, and they're going to be digging into that as well. So that's going to be a fantastic, fantastic time. But the question you're all probably wondering yourself, is Delta stock about to take a tumble? Well, let's take a look at it. Let's see what Delta stock is doing. Again, this is being recorded when the market is not necessarily open, so I do not have access to what the price happened, but I can give you a couple scenarios that happen. Considering Delta essentially came right to this 50-day moving average and is holding it, we can simply draw a simple line in the sand to understand if Delta is bullish or bearish. If you own the company, this is not going to be financial advice for whether you to sell, buy, anything. This is just an analysis of giving you the facts, a different perspective, so that you can make your own decisions, and I'll give you a recommendation of what I would personally do. But then again, your own choice with that. I do like the wick that occurred on that Thursday of last week, because it is a lot of buying pressure kind of filling this gap right here. So definitely something that we would want to see of buying pressure. However, was it an indication of further downside to occur? For me, I would simply say if you're closing below the 50 today, you're simply heading to that 200. There's going to be little to no catalyst to the downside, especially as the news broke that it was a Delta plane, as we've seen with like American Airlines, United, any of them, especially Boeing. If your company is involved in an incident like that, thankfully no one was hurt on it, so thank the Lord for that. But again, this is not what you want to necessarily see, where the stock is in a weaker point. People were already saying, I don't want to hold it at $69. I don't want to hold it at $67. So why am I going to hold it at $64? Considering the news, there's uncertainty of who is necessarily to blame, as the media basically seized on it to blame Donald Trump, but it did also happen in Canada. So it's like, my question to you is, really, who's to blame? The FAA or the Canadian authority? You know, Trudeau isn't very famous for solving a lot of problems, but we're not going to get into that side topic. I know we have Canadian viewers on this channel. I'm not going to get into the whole politics of Canada versus US, except that we have a better hockey team. That's all I'm going to say. But anyway, going back to Delta stock, right? Talking about exactly what's going to be happening with Delta stock, I foresee further downside. Why is that? Well, simply put, you pushed up into this massive rotation, and I like to see maybe us rotate back down to these previous all-time highs, which is coincidentally sitting right around that 200-day moving average, which would be a very, very bullish sentiment for Delta stock. I personally would be looking around that $55 mark to maybe see some accumulation, or even again in this sub $56 mark where you previously came down to right here. That will be establishing maybe that kind of like head and shoulders kind of forming here, which could lead to more downside on the stock, just seeing a larger pattern play out here. However, that is a lot of speculation considering we haven't even formed a down leg here. We haven't bounced off and then forming the shoulder there again. So this is very much speculation. So what could you do in the short term? As long as you stay above the 50, this could be an excellent buying opportunity as people are more fearful. But then again, it could be an accumulation area where you could accumulate around the 50, giving you some good value. You are discounted from all-time highs by approximately 6%. So again, in that standard 10% correction territory that certain stocks go. But again, with this catalyzed news that's been happening with Delta, it could result in further downside. So make sure you guys are careful. Make sure you have stop losses in place, and make sure that if you're playing options, that you're looking at the IV of the option and the chain and Delta stock itself to see where it is heading. I'm sure if we get a drop on Delta, IV is going to spike. So it's going to be an excellent time to sell puts on the market if you're into that. And if you guys want to know more, join the Discord, join the trading community so you can understand it's completely free, risk-free to you. You basically join, get free access to us, and then be part of a community that's growing to develop it. So long-term benefit for no pay except your time. So again, rather than putting that time in of stressing out in the market, maybe learn a couple things. Who knows, maybe it'll benefit you. But going recapping all my favorite things in the world, good old Bitcoin, kind of looking a little bit weaker. Again, trading was occurring at the time that we were recording this, and we also had Monday on Bitcoin open considering the futures market was kind of green. So futures were green during low volume trading, trying to favor some a little bit. But again, Bitcoin consolidating in this region, not really breaking the trend down. Around that $95,000 mark, definitely going to be one of those things I'm going to keep an eye on and keep you guys updated. Make sure you, again, join the Discord. We'll be posting alerts for Bitcoin. The moment it breaks 100 is probably when the rocket ship starts to go up, or it breaks 91. That's when the rocket ship falls out of the sky. So are you team bull, team bear on Bitcoin? Throw it down in the comment section below. And like we talked about the S&P, where we could be expecting to open, we definitely could be expecting to open at a new all-time high. Considering the markets were actually green during the low trading volume, this gets set up a very nice 610 break. I threw a bunch of trading strategies, option plays, and stock plays in that watch list that I mentioned before. So make sure you guys check that out. Discord, link in the description below. And if you guys are enjoying this content thus far, throw a like on the video. It lets YouTube know, pushes it out to more people, gets this channel known, because we want to grow the channel and support you guys with amazing trade ideas every single day. So by showing your support, hitting the like button, it really helps the channel out, lets us know that you want more of this content. Again, the trade that's going to be underrated this year, I keep going back to the Russell. It's probably been a broken record for me if you guys have been watching this channel, because I was saying the Russell was a good buy around the 230 mark. I was saying it also, I bought in at the 230 mark back here. And boy, that has taken me for a ride. So again, I have winners, I have losers like everyone else. However, having closed this position, still kind of break even-ish on it. A little down on that last day, but it's been struggling, hitting its head against this 50-day moving average. Is this week finally going to be the week that we break out of the Russell? Going to be huge upsides for that trade, because I do think the Russell has a massive amount of room to run. Again, the Russell is down approximately on the closing price 7% from where it was previously. So that's 7% appreciation that we could see in the Russell. As the Fed mentioned about government spending and stuff, it's kind of like they're indicating the Doge team is actually working, and we can actually fact check this by going to the 10-year yield to know what on earth is happening with this thing. Now, I put that pink line there just for the sake of when Donald Trump got into inauguration, so we can kind of judge him based on, is he giving us higher interest rates or lower interest rates? As we've seen here, we kind of been a modest sideways consolidation, but we are forming lower lows to the previous. We broke down below the 50-day moving average. Yields were a little bit higher considering everything. But then again, as we've seen as a treasury and all these HUD things that are going on, HUD, I believe $1.9 billion got cut from them for our reckless, wasteful spending. So good to them, as the government deficit is basically shrinking as we speak. Could it possibly be the year where the government deficit actually turns into not a deficit? Then again, we're relying on politicians to do an actually good job. And again, that's not necessarily what we want to be. as everyone primes up for NVIDIA earnings. Like we mentioned previously, NVIDIA earnings in 2 weeks. So technically it's NVIDIA earnings this week and next week. We do have some news that we had a bunch of Fed speakers, which shockingly surprised me, but they also said some really dumb things. Like, for example, admitting that, see, here are some of the things. Recent data, CPI data is a point, but could be the result of seasonal adjusted issues. When the data doesn't work out for you, just blame it on something else. Again, transitory narrative, I cite D. And then Waller also saying tariffs have modest, non-persistent impact on prices. I guess the Fed is kind of warming up to the idea of tariffs, and also that waiting for uncertainty to lift is the recipe for paralysis. Fully agree with that one. And talking about the labor market, how he sees that it's in a good point, kind of pushing that narrative about the Fed being in this nice point to be. But he also said something, demand had significant impact on inflation. If you print a crap ton of stuff, there's a huge amount of pent-up demand. Maybe they're finally taking responsibility for it. As always, guys, we promise to keep you guys updated on the reverse repo, sitting around $58 billion. So that's that liquidity for the bond market, but the bond market hasn't been doing much at all. But let's take a look at the news to wrap up. What are we heading into today? You guys would have Trump speaking, so definitely could be a spicy day, especially whatever he said. We have building news along with FOMC minutes. I personally don't think minutes are going to be that much. A lot of people are putting too much credence in it because the Fed's done an excellent job of communicating what they want, and we kind of know what they want. And if you didn't, you had 3 Fed speakers yesterday talk. So again, am I really that surprised? No. Initial jobless claims, Philadelphia Fed manufacturing, what it took from this year there, expected to come in severe contraction territory. That could be a blowout, setting up for a nice run on that, along with more Fed speakers. Kind of coincidence, it's like Fed speaker week when minutes come out. Existing home sales and S&P Global Composite to close out the week. Definitely going to be an exciting one, so make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We'll have the latest weekend deep dive posted over here for you guys to check out, where we went over the exact levels that we have to pay attention to in the market, the news catalyst, and things we see with different mega caps. Check that one out. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.